The company is hiring. You'll have your very own ship, your very own crew. Your job? Collect worthless garbage to return to the company desk. It's easy.
Alright, look. Stop. Behind you! Oh my god! You want to know how to dance? Miss, you have to figure it out. Touch the piece. Let's go. Don't touch the Get away from me! Yeah, you. Oh my god! What was that? Holy! We got f***ing stuck by lightning! We gotta hurry back to the shop. Y'all got...
As you have not met the profit quota, your performance has been deemed below standard. Welcome to our disciplinary process.
We didn't meet the quota, so... Who wanna make the jump first? You creature! What are you going to... No. What is that sound? What's behind us? He's coming! No! He's coming! He's coming!
Lethal Company is the most fun game I have played this year, which is funny considering I get a noise complaint for screaming too much every time I play the game.
Yo, I just got a warning. Not to be loud. Can't be loud for a little bit.
The game only released a month ago, as of me writing this, and is already the current top-selling game on Steam, even outselling the new Modern Warfare 2 DLC.
What the f*** is this world? What have they done to us? What did they do to us?
And one of the most popular games on Twitch right now, with over 90k viewers. As I was writing this, the game is a first-person co-op survival horror made by somebody called Zeekers, who is apparently a mystical wolf creature from the land of Narnia. So, that's pretty cool. The game takes place in a retro-futuristic post-apocalyptic dystopia where the players take on the role of a worker hired by a corporation simply called The Company.
The company is hiring.
The workers are given a ship and a crew and are entrusted with the task of traveling to different moons where they will have to explore abandoned buildings to find scrap to bring back to the company. The scrap are just random items that vary in weight and value. There are 42 pieces of findable scrap in total, and their values range from being worth $16 to $156. I will now name every piece of scrap from least to most valuable. Their prices will be on the screen. Metal sheet, candy, dustpan, hairbrush, steering wheel, cookie mold pan, big bowl, egg beater, pill bottle, toothpaste, fish toy, toy cube, remote, stop sign, V-type engine, tea kettle, pickle jar, cog, mug, bottle case, rubber ducky, magnifying glass, red soda, magic ball, old phone, chemical jug, golden cup, clown horn, air horn, brass bell, fancy ring, laser pointer, wedding ring, dentures, toy robot, perfume bottle, hair dryer, apparatus, candy, fancy lap, yes.
Insert cash or...
Inside your ship, you have a control center where you can tell your ship to land or take off, and a main monitor connected to a computer that can be used to do many things, including set your autopilot to bring you to one of the 8 moons or the company building, purchase items from the company store and have them shipped to your current location or the next place you land at, see the bestiary, a list of creatures that you've scanned while exploring the moons. You can scan the moon to see how many items are currently outside the ship, and you can change what's on the screen of the main monitor of your ship. Oh, and if you decide to order the radar booster from the store, you can use the computer to ping it. I'll tell you more about that and the other stuff you can buy from the shop later, but right now, it's time to wake up. You've got a job to do. When you load into the game, you're waking up on the floor of your ship. It's unknown how you got here, but before you have any time to think about the possible ways you ended up here, a speaker above your head starts to chime.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth.
Whoops, wrong game. Here we go.
Welcome to your first day on the job. This is your very own autopilot ship, where you will eat and sleep for the duration of your contract. Make yourself at home. To complete the onboarding process, you will want to check the instruction manual and sign into your ship's computer terminal. We trust you will be a great asset to the company. Great asset to the company. Great asset to the company.
If you look around the ship, you'll find some propaganda posters promoting the company, a clipboard with an unreadable piece of paper on it, and if you approach the computer as the speaker told you to, you'll be able to log on to it and type help to bring up the prompts I spoke about earlier. However, the more perceptive player might notice the bright green sticky note next to it. Grabbing it off the wall, it says, "You're in deep. File access Seagard." If you enter the name Seagard into the computer, you'll find Seagard's log entries. These logs are the main source of the lore for Lethal Company, and you can find them on the different moons you explore. There are 7 logs in the game, but as of now, you only have access to one simply titled First Log. Date, August 22nd, 1968.
Hello, I'm writing this log to keep myself sane. I couldn't find a way to do the most basic thing on this old janky-butt computer, so I had Desmond added in. The log feature. Till now, I've just been adding my own notes to the bestiary, whatever I know. My brother said I should keep a journal, so I'm doing what I can. I am writing in a professional manner, as these logs could become a historical record, as they'll probably be here for years, just as long as there isn't a clean wipe. That is what Desmond said. If you're reading it in the future, you're probably from another crew. The turnover rate here is enormous. Maybe because the job sucks and everyone turns over dead. Maybe I can give some help when I have some experience. End log. Oh, and our names are Sigurd, me, Richard, Desmond, and Jess.
From this log, we find a few interesting things. First off, the date of the log is 1968, a year before the real-world moon landing. This kinda alludes to the company being a secret from most of the world, and raises the question of how it came to be, and if the logs are from 1968, then where or when are we? The log also tells us this job isn't exactly safe, as everyone turns over dead. But don't worry about that. You're wasting your precious time. As you can see if you look at the monitor above the control center, you'll see your quota and how many days you have left to make it. Looks like you have 3 days. Better make them count. Go ahead and pull that lever and land the ship. You land on Experimentation. Hazard level B, 8 a.m. It's a desert-like planet. In front of you is a railroad, and behind that is the main facility. I hope you used the $60 you had to buy yourself a flashlight, because once inside, there is almost no light. There are 2 types of interiors in this game, the facility and the mansion. The mansion is only able to spawn on 4 of the moons, Dine, Rend, Offense, and Titan, but is still less common than the facility. Editor's note, I later learned that you can actually get the mansion on every planet. It's just extremely rare to get them on any other planet except for those 4. Dine and Ren usually have the most common spawn rate of the mansion, so just keep that in mind. But you're on Experimentation right now, so you don't have to worry about that. When you get inside, either by entering the main door or the fire escape on the side of the building, you'll find an empty, dark industrial facility. It's unknown what the building was once used for, but the place is empty now, so just go ahead and explore.
Bro, stop.
Alright, look. Stop.
Well, not exactly empty. You see, inside the facilities, there are creatures. Creatures that eat people. People like you.
They're lizard men. They eat meat. We're meat.
There are 17 creatures in the game currently, and each one is different. Another note, 2 more creatures were added since I wrote that, so it's 19 now. Some of them are found outside and some are inside. Some are extremely dangerous, and others are completely passive. Specifically, the locusts and manicoils. The locusts are, well, locusts. All they do is fly around in random swarms around the moon, and they can't hurt you in any way. The manicoils are big, four-winged birds, but they can't hurt you either. These are the only two creatures that can't hurt you in any way, but the other creatures vary in the danger they pose to you. You can kind of put the creatures into three categories. The first class being the "Aw, it's an abomination" class. This includes all the creatures you're glad you found instead of anything worse, like the spore lizard, a four-legged creature with a huge round mouth and a purple orb at the end of its tail. These guys are kind of the best creature to run into inside the base, as they don't really pose any threat to you and won't attack unless you corner or attack them, in which case they can bite you. Most of the time, they'll just walk around and chill around the map, but if you get close to them, they'll most likely get scared and unleash a pink mist and run away. The mist will obscure your vision, but can't hurt you, acting almost like a smoke bomb. Then there's the circuit bees. Bees! They can be found outdoors at any time of day, gathered around their hive. Get too close and they will fly out and attack you. If they become separated from their hive, they'll become an enraged swarm roaming across the map, attacking anything in sight. The hive itself is a highly valuable piece of loot, but if you're going to try and take it, I recommend doing it right before you leave, as the bees will swarm the ship if the hive is taken inside.
They're pissed. Run. Run. Run.
They ain't gonna stop! They ain't gonna stop!
Teleport him, Two Penny, teleport him! Goddamn!
Next up, the baboon hawks are winged creatures that appear outside, usually in groups. If you spot them from a distance away, they usually mind their own business and won't seek you out. They can become curious, but as long as you keep your distance, they typically won't attack first unless they have a numbers advantage on you. However, get too close or try to attack, and they will peck you to death. And the hoarding bug. Found indoors, and much like you and your colleagues, spends their time seeking out and collecting loot. You'll likely find them guarding their collection of objects. They will attack you if you try to steal any from them. However, they can be killed by hitting them with signs or shovels.
Get his ass!
Hey! It's a robot!
Hey, come here! Come here, look.
Next is what I like to call the "uh-oh, it's a" class. This is where the creatures that are dangerous but can still be handled or avoided with a little effort belong, such as the Hygrodary, aka the slime, aka Flubber, is a blue-green gelatinous blob that can be found indoors. If you find one, it will slowly follow you and block your path, and if you touch it, it will hurt you. My theory is that it's acidic and it melts you like the blob from The Blob. These things aren't too hard to avoid, and you can usually just jump over them. The Snareflea is a nasty bug that hides on ceilings indoors and waits for unsuspecting players to wander underneath, at which point it will drop down and wrap itself around your head, a lot like a face hugger from Alien. Only they don't lay eggs in your stomach and they'll just suffocate you.
So as long as
We gotta grab.
You may be able to spot them and avoid them by keeping an eye on any indoor ceiling, but if one lands on your head, you have two options. Either have a teammate smack you in the head with a sign or shovel, or find an exit to the facility and leave, as the Snareflea can't survive outdoors and will just fall off your head. Bunker spiders are large arachnids that can be found indoors. They weave webs in their nearby vicinity, so be careful not to step in one. It will trap you and alert the spider to your presence, in which case it'll eat you. Bunker spiders are hard to kill, so best avoided by sneaking past their webs and staying out of their area. The Earth Leviathan, aka the
Alaskan bullworm!
is a giant worm that lives underground. These things will jump out of the ground and attempt to eat any player walking around outside. They don't spawn in too often, and they're not too hard to counter. Before they jump out of the ground will begin to shake. To avoid being eaten, all you need to do is turn 180 and sprint as fast as you can in the opposite direction. You should be able to evade the attack. Last in this class are the eyeless dogs. They are giant eyeless dogs that only spawn outside and are completely blind, so all you need to do to not get eaten by them is stay completely silent. They can hear any in-game sound you make, as well as any sound that comes from your mic. So just remember to be quiet, crouch walk, and don't drop any items while you're near them, and they shouldn't really be a problem. The last and final class of creatures is the
That was just killed him. You creature. Guys, I'm looking at him.
my voice. This is the class of creatures that, if seen, you should probably just return to the ship as soon as possible. The Forest Keepers. These guys are giants that walk around the map at night. If one of them spots you, they will run at you and grab you and eat you. The best way to avoid them is to crouch behind rocks and trees and try not to be seen. If one of them does see you, you won't be able to outrun them as they're faster than you, so it's pretty much game over. Unless you have a teammate who's able to teleport you back to the ship or hit the giant with a stun grenade or stun gun. This will make the giant drop you, but won't stun them forever, so you need to get to safety as fast as possible once you've been dropped. The Coilhead is a mannequin-like creature with short arms, a damaged torso, and a screaming head on a spring.
No!
Why? The Coilhead is essentially the same as SCP-173. If you see one, don't take your eyes off it, because as soon as you do, well... The Coilhead can also be slowed down by doors. If you close a door on it and look away, it'll bang on the door a few times and eventually it'll break through it, but it will delay it. The Bracken has a somewhat humanoid shape and is a dark red in color. With spiny appendages on its torso, its most distinct characteristic is its white, glowing eyes. The Bracken hides in the shadows indoors and looks for players. If the Bracken finds you or one of your crewmates, it'll begin to follow them and stalk them. The only way to deter it is by looking at it, but do not stare at it. Only glance at it for a second or so. If you look at him for too long, he will attack you, and if he touches you, it's an instant death, as he will break your neck and pull your body into the shadows. He can also grab multiple people at once, like in this clip.
He's coming! He's coming!
If you see a Bracken, it's best to just leave the facility as soon as possible. The Thumper is a creature with a shark-like head that drags itself across the corridors using two arm-like limbs. The Thumper can't hear you, so won't be attracted to any sound you make. However, it's fast and will charge in a straight line when it notices you. The best way to get away from the Thumper is to avoid running in a straight path and take as many corners as possible. However, you can cheese the Thumper by jumping onto a railing and hitting him with a sign or a shovel until he dies. Editor's note, you can't do that anymore. There's been a patch and now he will just eat you. He'll just bite your feet, so yeah, don't try that. The Jester is only found on high-level moons. It appears to be a jack-in-the-box with legs and an arm sticking out of it. The Jester has 3 stages. It may run around in your vicinity and appear passive initially, but eventually it will run up to you and start cranking.
You
guys are gonna die, reset. Dance.
Keep on cranking. You really can do this.
You can do it. Crank.
Yeah.
Crank.
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 Crank. Crank. Get up. He got cranked.
Once it enters this stage, all players should immediately evacuate the building, as when it reaches stage 3, it will hunt you down and kill anyone in the building. And this guy is fast and apparently has a UAV, considering he knows every player's exact location. If everyone exits the building, the Jester will return into its first stage, so the best way to deal with one is to evacuate the building and then return. However, he will still be inside, so try not to let him find you, as once he does, he will start cranking again. The last creature, and the one I personally find to be the worst to discover, is the Ghost Girl. The Ghost Girl is found on expensive moons and is a small girl in a red dress with the largest forehead since Megamind.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. I be saying that's fucked up, like, bro, you probably had the full washing set. Your shit be fire probably if they ain't cut your shit. Fuck it though, bro. It's your life.
The Ghost Girl can only haunt one player at a time, and only that player will be able to see her while you're being haunted. The other crewmates' voices will slowly get more and more muffled, and you'll begin to see the girl more and more, just standing around the map staring at you. It seems staring back at the girl or approaching her will scare her away temporarily, but eventually she will begin to skip towards you, and once she does this, you need to run away as fast as possible, because if she catches you, you will die instantly, as your head will... No! This might not sound as bad as some of the other creatures, but the reason why I believe she's the worst to deal with is because, unlike the other creatures, she can follow you outdoors. So the only way to truly escape her is to leave the moon altogether. Also, once she's killed one crew member, she won't go away. Instead, she'll immediately begin to haunt another crewmate, so the best thing to do when a player sees the Ghost Girl is to just leave the moon as soon as possible. Another editor's note. Hey, so in the update that Zeeker's made, he added 2 more creatures. The Mask, or Masked, which you can either find a mask in the building, and if you put it on, you will be possessed, and your body will try to go and possess the other players on the map. Or one will just spawn in the map already, and if it catches you, the same thing will happen. These are pretty spooky, pretty scary, but they're kind of avoidable. I really haven't seen any masked already spawn in the map. I've only ever seen the mask on the ground, so I think that's kind of rare. But it's really avoidable and mainly just kind of like a gimmick to mess with your friends. So honestly, I'd kind of put this in the middle tier. If someone puts on the mask, it's definitely can be really annoying, as they just constantly follow you, and dealing with them along with other creatures can really mess you up. And then secondly, he also added the Nutcracker, who I would probably put in the this guy just walks around patrolling different areas of the map, and he has a shotgun. If you're in his area, a little eyeball will pop out, and if he sees you, he'll shoot you, which will instantly kill you. You can take his shotgun. I haven't done it, and I don't really know how, other than hitting him with a shovel and eventually taking it. If you try to just take it from him like right away, you'll just get killed from him somehow. He's kind of difficult to deal with when you're dealing with other creatures, and he can be really annoying. He's not, I wouldn't say he's as bad as a lot of the other creatures. He's kind of like beginning of Amazing Grace territory. However, you can stop and stay completely still. If I think you crouch and you stay completely still, and the first time he opens his eyeball, he won't notice or see you if you do that. But if he does notice you, you can run out of the way of the shotgun blast. It's not too hard to avoid, but it can be really annoying. So I just wanted to add those in. These 17 creatures are a big part of what makes the game so fun. It's obvious the creator took a lot of inspiration from games like SCP Security Breach and Secret Lab while creating the creatures, and honestly, the lack of lore behind the creatures really adds to the horror of the situation. Now that I've broken down all the creatures, you should be ready to start collecting some scrap for the company. Once you've used the 3 days you had to get the necessary amount of scrap to meet the quota, just go ahead and type in the company building into the computer, make your way back to Sell the Hall. Oh, wait, don't pull that lever just yet. I forgot one last thing before you leave. There are 2 logs that Sigurd left on experimentation. Swing of Things from August 27th and Shady from August 31st. One is on the water tower to the right of the ship, and one on the top of the pipe to the left. You can reach it by climbing the stairs to the fire exit and jumping across onto the large pipe. These are the August logs, and these are only 2 of the 3. The other is found on another moon called Assurance. This log is from August 24th and can be found in front of the ship right past the pipeline. Smells here. Date, August 24th, 1968.
Gosh, this suit is squeezing me like I'm a gosh damn mummy. I'm a grown man. Give it some space in between the legs. It's killing me. I'm dying. I hope you're happy, Dad. I finally got a job. Screw you. Everyone here smells, especially Rich. I'm going to throw him in the lake. I don't care what it's made of. I love being on camera duty. Oh, I forgot. The date. It's August 24th, 1968. This keyboard is distributed. Today we found a couple of frying pans and a big nail, worth almost nothing. What is this company even using it for?
Swing of Things. Date, August 27th, 1968.
We got in the swing of things the past few days. That's what Rich keeps saying. He smells like a rancid tuna can. Worst summer camp I've ever been on. Date is August 27th, 1968. We make sure someone always has a shovel for bashing anything that moves. We always put someone on camera duty, so they can open these big security doors with letters and numbers. Ask Desmond, the wizard, how that works. I think he just types in the code that's on the door. That's it. We sold some goods to the company today at 70% value. I got my nerves chilled listening to the fucking psychotic sounds behind the counter. No one else gave any. Can't ignore that. My flashlight didn't even go back there. The beam just went dark.
Shady. Date, August 31st, 1968.
Date is August 31st, 1968. I got camera duty again. I hate walking on this moon anyway. Haha, joke's on them. Just started raining. I'm just sitting. Can't sleep on these tiny beds for ants. I've been thinking a lot. I think this job is shady. If you're reading this, you probably got here the same as me. The pay is good, the contract only lasts a season. They ran you through their assessment exam on the phone with a weird voice. You signed the contract on the shuttle with the rest of the crew, but the whole time you didn't talk to anyone. The shuttle was autopiloted. I think the voice on the phone was fake. I've had the worst dreams. I think I just want to go back home. But I'm not gonna crawl home crying and scratching on my dad's front door. That's not his son. That's not Sigurd.
These logs tell us a few things. Mainly that Rich was a nasty, stinky, smelly guy, but also telling us about things like the shovel that can be ordered from the store, costing $30 and can be used to bonk any creature causing you trouble. This and the signs you can find inside the building are the only two things in the game that can be used to harm the creatures. I'm gonna butt in with the editor's note here. That's actually technically untrue now, because if you're able to steal the shotgun off of the Nutcracker, you can now use that to hurt the creatures. But other than that, yeah, that's still it. They also tell us that the computer can be used to open doors inside the base, and that it's best to have somebody stay in the ship and watch the cameras to help the crew inside the building. The computer can also be used to temporarily turn off any turrets in the way of a crewmate. Sigurd also gives us more indications about the company's non-human origins and how we might have gotten here as well, with him mentioning the complete darkness he saw behind the counter on the wall. And the fact that he never spoke to a real person during the application process, only a robotic voice over the phone. Now that you've gotten the logs, go back to the ship and head to the company building to sell the scrap. The company building is less of a building and more of a giant concrete wall with a landing pad in front of it. There are no creatures here, only some shipping containers and the counter on the wall. This is where you will sell your scrap. Simply just take it off the ship and pile it onto the counter. Once you're ready to sell, ring the bell on the right side of the counter. What's that? Nothing happened? Go ahead and give it another ring, or two. But be careful not to ring it too many times. You don't want to make the company angry. We don't know what's behind the wall, but it's obviously not human. We don't even know if the company is ran by humans. We don't even know where the company comes from, really. Why are they paying us to collect scrap? How did the buildings get on the moon, and what were they used for? And how did we even get here? If you walk around the company building, you'll find a hatch leading to a walkway. If you walk all the way to the end, you'll find the next log, Sounds Behind the Wall, from September 4th. If you look to the left after picking up the tape, you'll see something interesting. A massive drill facing the wall. You can get closer and even turn on the light above it if you do a little parkour across some of the scaffolding. We can see some graffiti on the drill saying, "Don't Tell" and "Battery." We don't know who was building the drill, but it definitely wasn't the company, judging by the fact that it says "Don't Tell" and it's on a track facing a target drawn on the wall. Someone was trying to drill into the company. But right now, you don't have time to worry about that. You've got a new quota to meet, and this time, it's even more. Once back on the ship, you should choose your next moon. I would advise against going to offense, as there are no logs there. To get to your next log, you can choose in between Vow and March. Both planets are spawns for the same log, Screams, from September 13th. On Vow, the log can be found on the concrete bridge above the fire exit. And on March, it can be found on top of the concrete structure around the fire escape found behind the ship. But before landing on your next moon, might I suggest you purchase a few tools from the store to assist you on your exploration. There are 3 types of items in the store: equipment, ship upgrades, and the most important thing, ship decorations. At the moment, there are 13 pieces of equipment, 4 ship upgrades, and 14 ship decorations. However, not every piece of decoration is always available.
Okay.
The equipment vary in how useful they are, some being almost useless and others being a must-have. The flashlight/pro flashlight are a necessity, more so the pro than the regular. The difference being that the pro has a brighter, larger light that has a longer battery life, and also costs $25 compared to the normal, which is only $15. The shovel costs $30 and is the only weapon in the game that can actually kill creatures.
But that's technically not true anymore.
The walkie-talkie is a very important tool and is a must-have if you want your crew to split up or stay in contact with someone back at the ship. It costs $15.
Oh wait, should we spread them around the whole ship?
Yes. It's way louder when it's around this shit.
Okay, hit it. Just keep spamming it.
You only had 2 flashlights?
Yeah, we can buy more though.
Hey, you wanna hear something?
My ears, get it away.
The lock picker costs $20 and is kinda useless in my opinion. It can open any locked doors inside the building, but you usually don't need one as there are always plenty of keys you can find inside the map. A stun grenade is pretty useful. It costs $40 and can be used against most creatures to stun them and give you time to escape or attack them. Spray paint is a fairly new item and costs $50, but is pretty useful as it can help you mark the path to the exit to help you prevent from getting lost inside the map. I suggest using this on maps like Titan, Dine, and Rend as those maps seem to be bigger than the rest, especially Titan.
The boombox costs $60 and is the most important item in the game, as it allows the player to look for scrap whilst jamming out and looking insanely cool.
The extension ladder costs $60 and can be used to cross gaps in and outside the map. The radar booster costs $60 as well and is fairly useful. It has its own dot on the map, like a player, and can be pinged from the computer, which will make it say its name.
Hello?
It can also be used as a flashbang. The TZP inhalant costs $120 and is supposed to let you carry more weight easier, but really doesn't seem to help that much, and its only real purpose is to make the game more funny by giving the player a helium voice.
Take a hit. Okay. Shit.
I'm waiting for them to play Gangnam Style. Yeah. I'm crazy. I'll be punching. I'm spinning. I'll be punching.
The Zap Gun is a very useful tool that costs $400. It can be used to tase any creature and stun them. It cannot kill creatures, but they can be used to stun an enemy and let the other crewmates beat it to death with shovels or shotguns or whatever they have. The final piece of equipment is the jetpack. It's fun, but not very useful in my opinion, as it's difficult to control, and if you crash it, it will blow up and instantly kill the person who was driving it and also break. So, if you spend $700 on it, you better know how to use it. It can be useful on maps like Titan, Rend, and Dine, as it's an easier way to get across the map without having to walk the trail. I mean, most maps, I feel like that's really the only use for it, but in my opinion, you might as well just not buy it, because at $700, it's really easy to break, and when it does, you're gonna die. It's not very fun.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to escape the company. I'm going to scale the wall. I'm doing it. I'm escaping. I'm getting away. It's working.
The next items, the ship upgrades, are all things that can't be used from outside the ship. There are 4 of them, and the most useful of them by far is the teleporter. The teleporter costs $375 and will allow you to teleport anyone back to the ship from any part of the map, indoors or outdoors. The only catch is, when a player is teleported, everything is dropped from their inventory. So the teleporter is best used as an emergency abort button if your crewmate is stuck in a bad situation and they can't escape.
Ah, you dog.
You just got saved.
It can also be used to teleport the bodies of any deceased crewmates as long as they haven't been eaten. The inverse teleporter, on the other hand, is a massive coin flip. It can be used to teleport players to a random spot inside the map and costs $425. Keyword being random. This thing can either be a great way to get high value loot fast, or it can be a great way to get you, let's say, terminated from the company. Well, see you later, boys. The loud horn costs $150 and is just a loud horn. It can be used from inside the ship and can be heard from anywhere on the map. A good use for it is to use to warn other crewmates of any force giants outside when you don't have a walkie-talkie.
Polio versus mass outcasts.
The last ship upgrade is the signal transmitter. This device can be used to text messages to the other crewmates, but is limited to 9 characters and costs $255. The 14 ship decorations are all cosmetics you can buy from the shop to pimp your ship and get some new drip.
Here, Vegeta asked me to make him a new battle suit a while back, so I got it done and it turned out so well I figured I'd just go ahead and make one for everybody.
They are cozy lights, decoy suit, green suit, hazard suit, pajama suit, goldfish, jack-o'-lantern, television, record player, romantic table, shower, table, toilet, and welcome mat. After you've gotten yourself some new upgrades, you should be able to land and grab the log and continue looting. Once you've used up your 3 days getting loot, return to the company building and sell your scrap. By now, your crew should have earned a good amount of money. That's great. The last log is on a moon called Ren. It's one of the 3 moons that have a price tag to enter, the other 2 being Dine and Titan. These are the ice moons, and there's a reason why they cost money to enter. You see, I forgot to mention earlier that when you first land on a moon, it'll tell you its hazard level. This is a rating of how dangerous a moon is. On the computer in the ship, the moons are in order from least to most hazardous. Each moon has a permanent base hazard level, but can also increase depending on the current weather conditions. The company building is level Safe, Assurance is level D, Vow is C, Offense and Experimentation are level B, Rend is level A, Dine is S, and Titan is S+. When a moon has abnormal weather, it'll be labeled what kind of weather it has next to it on the moon select screen on your computer. The different types of abnormal weather are rainy, stormy, foggy, flooded, and eclipsed. When a moon is raining, it'll have an increased spawn rate of quicksand. Quicksand can be found on most planets, sometimes even when it's not raining, and will kill you if you sink into it. But it's pretty easy to evade as it'll appear as a visible dark spot on the ground, and it's easy to escape if you only take a few steps into it. When a moon is stormy, on top of having a higher quicksand spawn, there will also be lightning that will strike you if you're holding any metallic objects outside. However, you can still collect metallic scrap if you're careful.
That came out of the ground and ran.
What was that?
Holy shit! We got struck by lightning!
When you're about to be struck by lightning, the item will begin to spark and make an audible zapping sound. So if you drop the item and get away from it every time it's about to be struck by lightning, you can still bring it back to the ship. It just takes a little bit more effort.
You moron! You still had something in your pocket!
When a moon is foggy, the game basically becomes Silent Hill. That's about the best description I can give for that. When a moon is flooded, there will be water everywhere, and it will continue to rise throughout the day, eventually making it impossible for you to walk around without drowning. And when a moon is eclipsed, there will be a big red sun in the sky, and All the creatures will have a heightened spawn rate, so you'll need to be extra careful and extra on edge. But you should be alright if you've gotten this far. A little snow isn't going to stop you. Is it? The ship lowers into Ren's atmosphere. Hazard level A. 8 a.m. When you first land, you can see the icy mountains around the map, and the pathway of lights leading to the main entrance. The moon has no sun and is in a constant blizzard, and is always dark outside, so your visibility is low. The trail of lights being your only guide to and from the building. If you follow the path, you'll get to the front door. Once you enter, you'll find this time the interior is a little different. This is the mansion. It may seem more comforting than the lifeless industrial interior of the facilities, but that's exactly why it's more unnerving. The liveliness. The mansion has a higher spawn rate of every creature, especially the ones you don't want to see. Jesters, ghost girls, nutcrackers, springheads, and the masked are all common in the mansion. Oh, and the amount of turrets and mines is also increased. But hey, at least the loot is better, as long as you manage to grab it and leave alive. Eventually, you'll reach your last day on the planet. It's time to grab the final log. The log, called Nonsense, is located on the other side of the map from where the ship lands. If you start at the rear of the ship and walk forward to the edge of the pit, turn left and follow the edge moving forward, eventually you'll get to the area where the tape is lying. Grab it and return to the ship. It's time to head back to the company building once more. Once you're back on the ship and in orbit, get on the computer again and open the logs. Sound behind the wall. Date, September 4th, 1968. I got woken up early this morning because we were going to the company building to sell our useless garbage. The rate was 120%, which Desmond says is rare, and he didn't want to miss it. He's been watching it like stupid stocks. It still sucks here. Rich still smells like a piece of shit. I can barely sleep. I heard the worst sound behind the wall of the company building. It sounded like crying red faces all churned up and swept away by concrete. Like the pestle and bowl my mom crushes up her seeds and spices in. I still hear it. It's a nightmare. No one else heard it. They don't know what to do. Jess thinks I'm homesick. No, I'm sick of this cheap suit. Screams. Date, September 13th, 1968. For some reason, I was the one who had to call the company number to report the accident. They were too scared to do it. It was the same fake voice I remember from the interview on the phone at home and the stupid training videos. But it hurt what I said, I think, because it said they would contact the family and find a replacement and something else. It talked so fast. I learned you can hear the screams all the time in the walkie-talkie when you're at the wall at the company building. They didn't believe me? Well, now they do. It sounds just like it did when I heard it a couple weeks ago. They want to quit. I said I'm not a coward. I just got this job. Nonsense. Date, September 27th, 1968.
Desmond wants me to write down what we figured out and keep my nonsense to a minimum. So I'm going to put so much of my nonsense. Screw him. The new crew member is named Lucas, and he is so confused and scared all the time. What a baby. At least he doesn't smell like a monster. It's been so sunny even though it's September, and the suits don't take it well. Okay, so Desmond traced the call and found out there's a group of people somewhere else that pretends to call us from the company building. They are across the whole solar system. Why would they be so far away? Desmond says he doesn't know, but I think, what if there really is a big monster in the company building like the voice told me on the walkie-talkie? They trapped it, and we feed it to keep it tame. I just wanted a stupid job.
These three final logs give us quite a bit of information, starting with the screams behind the walls of the company building. These can also be heard in-game by bringing a walkie-talkie right next to the wall. However, in my experience, it doesn't happen all the time like the log says. In fact, it's kind of rare.
Do you get to buy this or?
The screams, seemingly coming from other crewmates who angered the company monster and were pulled into the wall. This possibly explains why the drill was there. It's possible someone, maybe Sigurd, was planning to drill into the wall to save the screaming people. The log also tells us that Sigurd had to call the company to report that one of the crewmates on the ship had been killed. It's not explained who it was, but Sigurd talks about Desmond in the log after this one, so it was either Richard or Jess. Sigurd also talks about hearing the same robotic voice on the phone, and that the crew will be receiving a new replacement member, who we learn is named Lucas. In the final log, Sigurd says they traced the call they made to the company building and found that it was actually coming from the other side of the solar system, which doesn't make any sense. Sigurd then makes a theory that the purpose of their job is really to just feed the creature inside the wall and to keep it from getting angry. And this is the last log of the game, and it's all the information we have on Sigurd and his crew. Don't tell anybody I told you this, but there's actually 5 more logs, but they're not discoverable in game yet. You see, apparently, people have data mined the files of the game and found more logs. These logs are Golden Planet from August, Goodbye from September 7th, Idea from September 19th, Hiding from September 30th, and Desmond from October 15th. Golden Planet, August.
I talked to a voice on the walkie-talkie. It was like part of the screams. He told me the Golden Planet actually existed. It's not a legend. And he told me it didn't just hit a meteor. He said the planet was swallowed up by the beast, and they were in its body being digested. I asked what the beast is, and he said he didn't know. He said it ate the planet, and they forgot everything. I couldn't get him to stop talking, but I said he was on the other side of a big wall, and I couldn't get him out. I said he was inside the building, and that's when he started freaking out. I couldn't make out a word. I think he said something about spitting out the rinds, so I just turned it off. What a whack. Jess says the Golden Planet is just a story. I said I know, I'm not an idiot. Well, she said I should quit, and she quits if I do, so she's staying.
Goodbye. Date, September 7th, 1968. We left behind Rich. We just had one room to check, and then we could be done for the day. I couldn't get the door open, and then I looked and Rich wasn't there. It was the wrinkly-skinned flowerhead man that walks on 2 legs. It turned his neck. I heard the crack, but he wasn't there. I wanted to find Rich even if he was dead, but they're cowards. Their faces are blank like idiots. There's nothing moving in their stupid skulls. All they wanted to do was leave. They were just going to leave me too. And we all hated Rich, but we didn't want this. This isn't worth it. It's just not worth it. We got a pair of scissors, a box full of stamps, and a bundle of cords to sell for nothing. It's not worth it. What does this company even want it for? The date we last saw Rich is September 7th, 1968. Idea. Date, September 19th, 1968.
Past weekend it feels like Desmond and Jess woke up. We're supposed to get our 4th member of the crew in a few days. We weren't taking any risk anymore. We don't get as much, but it feels safer. And I've gotten better sleep. But it's still... I can still smell Rich. I swear to gosh he smelled that bad. I was talking about how the voice on the phone sounded fake. Then Desmond got this weird idea. He's the wizard and all, so he thinks there's a way to use the phone call I made to the company number to find where the voice comes from. I don't know why he would want to do that, but it seems serious. He's been using the terminal a lot.
Hiding. Date, September 30th, 1963.
I keep having bad dreams about the company building, where the company breaks out of that giant concrete wall. But I don't know if it looks like anything. I just think it's really big and fast. We can't figure out a way to know if the voices on the phone are real. Desmond says it's too far away. I asked him if he could take control of the autopilot, and he said, "I'm crazy, and that could kill us." Yes, I am crazy, Desmond. He says we would have to get our own private flight to get to the coordinates. And who knows what would actually be there, so what if it's nothing? I started wondering how I can't remember how we really got here. So I just remember little things like the shuttle flight to the building where we signed our contracts, but I don't remember getting on the shuttle. I don't even remember saying bye to Dad. In my dreams, it feels like the company isn't trapped in there at all. It's just hiding. I don't know if I'm going home.
Desmond. Date: October 15th, 1968. Desmond, October 3rd, 1968. I'm encrypting these logs to keep them hidden, as I fear the system will be wiped if they're found. It's all a guise. We're supposed to think it's all just a transaction, but our real job is keeping an incredible terror fed. How long until its fullness ends, and its hunger is insatiable? God knows, maybe it has to do with all these desolate moons. Whoever reads this, I'm sorry to burden you with this. Please have a good day and night. As what else is there for us to do? These logs do a lot to answer some of the things left out in the in-game logs, but they do bring up some new questions, starting with the golden planet Sigurd was told about by the voice in the walls. This gives us another possible reason for the drill under the building, and possibly hints at a future location. Then, in the next log, we learn that Rich was the one who was replaced and was killed by the frogman. Then we learn when Desmond got the idea to trace the company's calls, and in Sigurd's final log, he tells us about the constant reoccurring nightmare of the creature escaping the company, and he tells us that he's forgotten how he even got onto the ship in the first place. The last log was made by Desmond. In the final log, he confirms Sigurd's suspicions, telling us that the job truly is about just keeping the creature behind the wall fed, and that there is no escape. That fully wraps up the logs, and there really is no more. We don't know what happened to Sigurd and the rest of his crew for sure, but as the last log was written by Desmond, I don't believe Sigurd survived, possibly being killed on an expedition. I personally believe the last message from Desmond was written right before the crew was fired, as the crew had been working for 54 days in total, so their quota must have been enormous, and the message is brief and reads as though it was his last chance to give future crews any information that could help. When we first wake up, we're supposed to be a brand new crew. This would make sense if Desmond and the rest of Sigurd's crew were just fired from the company, and we are here to replace them. But maybe they didn't die. Maybe they found a way to escape. Maybe we can still find them and get away from the company as well. Except, that's just not possible. There's one thing I forgot to mention. We aren't in 1968. We aren't in 1969, or 70, or even 80 either. When you first boot up the game, it'll open to a select screen, online or LAN. It doesn't matter which one you choose. As soon as you select one, a bunch of orange text will quickly flash onto the screen, and then you'll be taken to the main menu. If you manage to see the orange text, or get a screenshot of it like I did, you'll see it says copyright 2107, meaning our crew is from the year 2107. The logs left by Sigurd are 139 years old, and he and his crew are long, long gone. My theory is that the company has been running for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and is run by aliens who hire humans to work for them to go on these dangerous moons and collect scrap to feed the creature behind the wall. If the creature were to go unfed, I'm pretty sure it's implied it would eat planet Earth. Earth in 2107 seems to have been through some hard times, judging by the food conservation poster in the ship and the description of some of the monsters, being that they were made for war, mainly the coilhead. Most of the creatures, though, seem to just be more aliens that have found the buildings put on the moons by humans. It seems the buildings were made by humans to be used in mining operations and space research, and eventually were abandoned. It's unknown why they left, but I think it was probably because of the war. Sigurd and his crew were just a group of people looking for jobs who got dragged into all this. Most likely, our character was brought here by similar circumstances as well. But either way, we know that the character we play as is not always the same person. By that, I mean every time you die and then come back, you're not coming back as the same character you started as. We know this because even if your entire crew gets fired and fails to meet the quota, when you start over, the logs and bestiary notes you found are still in the computer system from the previous crew you were playing as. This is really all we have for now, but Zeekers is continuing to make updates to the game and add in more and more things. In fact, when I was making this video, he added 2 new creatures, the mask and the nutcracker, some new scrap, the whoopee cushion, wrapped gift, and homemade flashbang, and a few new things to buy in the store, the spray paint and signal transmitter. I'm personally looking forward to seeing more updates like this in the future, and I hope more things are added to the lore. The drill under the wall seems like it's meant to be turned on by the players. It looks like there are 2 slots on the side that you could insert some apparatuses into and use to power the drill. It also seems like it was set up as a way to beat the game and escape the company. Maybe the drill runs on apparatuses and we'll need to give it 10 or 20 of them for it to drill through the wall and allow us to either escape or stop the cycle. All in all, I think Lethal Company is an amazing game, and if the game stays the way it is now, it'll still be one of the best things you can get on Steam for only $10. But all signs point to us getting more and more updates and the game getting bigger and better in the future.
Man, I'm about to blow this bitch up. Oh my god.
And that's the Lethal Company video. Thank you so much for watching. This took a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I started working on this thing probably a month and a half ago, and I wanted it to come out like a month ago, but I decided to put a little bit more into it than I thought I was going to, so it's out now. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It would really mean the world to me. I hope you guys had a good Christmas. I did. It is New Year's Eve today. I'm going to be spending the rest of the day with family and friends and maybe playing a little bit of Bloodborne. And so, yeah, that's it. You guys can leave now. And go watch something else. I have a few other videos that I've made that you could check out. They're pretty cool. So yeah, you can click off now and go watch those. I don't really have a lot to say about Lethal Company anymore. I mean, I've pretty much said everything I had to. So. I don't know why you're still here. Are you guys fans of anime? I've been watching JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a pretty good show. It just ended. The second season did. We could talk about that. I got a few things to say about that. So yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen season 2.